This leads to education, which is another important, you can say, application wherein internet is used. Apart from that, transactions which we perform, let it be financial transaction, I'm talking more specifically. So for banking purposes also we use internet and whatnot, like online booking for, our entertainment, for online shopping. We all use internet, and we know that we are like so much surrounded with the smart devices that without this internet, those devices will also be of no use, and our complete life will be, we feel handicapped without internet. So being, let's say we are talking about generic training or this generic program, so we'll not get into the technical depth of the internet, but at least we should know when we are using internet in such a, you can say, for so many applications we are using internet, we must know that why and how this internet functions and what all are the shortcomings of internet. Okay, so that we may be able to survive in this world of cyber world, which is called cyber world. Okay, so that we cannot be, harmed by someone, our security do not get lost in the cyber world. So we have to know few tips. We should be aware about few tips in order to safeguard ourselves from cybercrime. Okay, so the main reason why we are discussing all these things is to have cyber awareness. Okay, so we have security awareness about like what to do in the internet, what we should take care of while using internet. So for that reason, just for, you know uh, giving you a bit of information about internet, we are doing all this session. So if we talk about this particular thing, so outline of the session would be, we'll be discussing internet fundamentals, then we'll be talking about information security and its basics, then analysis of threats and risk. Okay, and difference between information security, IT security, computer security, cyber security, and network security, and other things. And then we'll proceed with the policies of internet information security and tips to safeguard, okay, ourselves. So let's start with the very smallest unit of internet, that is network. Okay, now what network is? We call internet as the largest network in the world that connects hundreds and thousands of, individual networks all over the world together. So we can talk about like, we want that two computers should communicate with each other. Then we, connect them with some RJ45 connector cross cable connection so that they two computers can communicate. Okay, but when I want that entire lab should be connected with each other so that uh, one file get transferred to from one computer to another computer in just few seconds, then we must say that all of those computers should be in a network, okay, in one network. So we can say that, for example, if we take an example of a lab in our, let's say, office, or let's say we talk about in any school or in any college or in any organization, if we are talking about various computers are connected in a network, that means they are connected to each other for communication purposes. And in this way, it makes the smallest network. Okay, so internet, if we talk about, it is the amalgamation of various kinds of network together. Okay, when we connect all those networks together by one or the other means, then a big network come into the picture. Okay, so they are of various types, which we will be discussing in our next slide. Before that, one more important thing is internet service provider, that is ISP. This is a commercial organization, basically, which we should know what ISP is, because it provides us services that are called internet services, which are very important to us. Okay, so it is a commercial organization which gives us permanent connection to the internet, or you can say sell temporary connection to the subscribers. Okay, so examples for internet service providers are Prodigy, America Online, Microsoft Network, AT&T Networks, and various other internet service providers. Okay, so in this present slide, like we were talking about various kinds of network. So here are the three types of computer networks. One is LAN, MAN, and WAN. You might have heard about these, mainly LAN. Okay, so LAN is local area network, local area and network. Okay, so local area network basically looks like this picture which you are looking. Okay, so these all blocks are actually computers which are connected to each other with the central common lane, which is known as Ethernet. Okay, will not get into details. So these computers can communicate to each other due with the help of these lines or these connections which they have made together. So you can take an example of a lab or an organization. Okay, or an office in which we work. All the computers are connected to each other, and then we call that they are in a network or they are in a LAN. Okay. Further, if we move further, then another kind of computer network is MAN, which is Metropolitan Area Network. Now, this Metropolitan Area Network is incorporated with the you can take an example of, let's suppose there is a city which we are talking about. That city might include hospitals, various hospitals, many schools, many factories, many colleges, many other institutes, and other kind of firms. Okay, that may carry LAN, that may have LAN in it. And when all these LANs get connected to each other to make a single connection, which is MAN. Okay, so as the name suggests, Metropolitan Area Network, that means it is a network of the size whose area size is of a metro city. Okay, so this is Metropolitan Area Network, MAN. Okay, then moving further, if we talk about WAN, then WAN is Wide Area Network. Again, you can imagine like you are trying to connect various continents in the world. Okay, we have connected cities already with the help of MAN, and various MAN can connect to make countries unite together, countries network unite together. And now, if I'm talking about WAN, that is Wide Area Network, wherein various LANs and many MANs are connected together and they become WAN. Okay, so in this way, the smallest entity, that is network, is now connected to each other, and they are becoming or growing larger and larger. So in this way, our internet comes into existence. Okay, so moving further, if we talk about how the communication takes place, like presently we are communicating. So what I am doing, my computer is sending digital signals. These digital signals are fetched by modem, which is modulator and demodulator. Now, the task of this modem is like to convert digital signals into the analog signals. Okay, once these analog signals are reached to internet service provider, then this internet service provider will connect us with internet, and internet, through internet we'll be reaching at the destination, that is at your systems. Okay, so again, with the help of internet service provider, my analog signals will get converted into the digital signals with the help of modem which is there at your place. Okay, then these digital signals will be captivated by your system, wherein you can get me what I am talking, what I am sharing, and all these stuff. Okay, so you can see the entire like functionality of internet and various other things which are working together in layers to give such a fast and such a good service. Okay, so from here you can see how you know efficient this internet is, because in just a blink of eye, or in, you can say, in real time, you can hear my voice, you can see what we are doing, what activities are being carried on here. So you can see the efficiency of internet. So when we say that we are communicating with each other, that means like in previous days when we used to have, that letter system wherein we used to write letter and send it to the recipient. In the same way, now also we write letters or we write messages, we write mails and send it to the recipients as shown in the previous slide. Okay, so for that, in earlier times also we used to write down the address of the recipient, and now also same address method is used, just the name and the style is different. Here we use IP address. Now my system is also having an IP address and your system is also having an IP address. Now the communication which takes place is from the IP address to the IP address. Okay, so each computer which is connected to internet or which is connected, which is present in some network, it might have a unique IP address. Now this IP address is basically 32-bit number. Okay, it is 32-bit number as four binary octets. Like this example is given to you. These are four binary octets for convenient notation. Okay, so it is like 163.1.125.98. So this makes one IP address. Now this IP can be allocated statically as well as dynamically also. If we talk about statically, then manually we enter one IP to your system so that your computer gets an address. Okay, so it is given manually also. And if you are like traveling to some place and your IP automatically get changed. Okay, so that is with the help of DHCP, which is Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol. This is a technical protocol. In technicality, it automatically configure your IPs accordingly, according to the location, according to the network available. So all in all, this IP address along with a subnet mask and a default gateway completes your address. Now, subnet mask is what? Subnet mask is it identifies the location of your computer in the network. Okay, and like what is your present location, and default gateway IP address, it provides access to the wider network. Okay, so in this way, these three things, that is IP address, subnet mask and default gateway, completes your address to receive anything and everything through internet. Okay, so presently these four binary octets make IPv4, that is Internet Protocol version 4. And as we know that in COVID situation and even with the advancing technology, we are more and more getting into contact of smart devices. And when we talk about smart devices are increasing, we must know that the IP addresses are also increases, because each device which is connected to internet should carry an IP address. So for this reason, this version 4, which was 32-bit IP addresses, are now getting converted or extended to IPv6, that is Internet Protocol version 6. Okay, so we'll be gradually switching to 128-bit addresses, and it is basically 8 groups of hexadecimal quadrat. An example for the same is given to you. Now our IP addresses will be looking like this. Okay, because our user base is increasing. Earlier we were just 4 billion users, or you can say 4 billion, that is 2 raised to the power 32 available addresses were there, IP addresses. But now because user base is increasing, these 4 billion addresses are short now. So we are switching to 2 raised to the power 128 bits of addresses. Okay, so it will look like this now. Okay, so I hope it is clear like what internet is basically, how internet is made with the smallest entity, how it communicates with each other. Okay, how sender and receiver both communicate with each other, and how addressings look like, IP address look like, and what is the extended version of IP address, which is IPv6. Now we should also understand this, how this whatever communication which we are doing, or whatever data we are sending, it is sent in just a blink of eye. Okay, so for that we have to understand that the entire suite of protocols work behind it, behind the efficiency of the internet. By suite of protocol, I mean protocols are basically standards. Okay, some rules, regulations, some protocols, some standards. Okay, so these standards help in maintaining integrity, help in maintaining confidentiality as well as speed of internet. So for here we have entire suite here in at the right side of the screen. You can see this IP, which we have already seen what IP is, Internet Protocol. Okay, above that there is TCP, okay, Transmission Control Protocol. Then TLS, DNS, UDP, all these protocols work hand in hand to make the services available to us. And on the top of that, there is HTTP. Okay, now HTTP is basically Hypertext Transfer Protocol, one of the most important protocol which we see if we use internet, if we access internet. And on the top of that we have HTML, CSS, web APIs, JavaScript. This is for displaying kind of thing, for interface making. Okay, so for HTTP we will see like it is very important for transferring, like here in this diagram you can see here is one screen wherein users give a request to the server. So this is basically client and this is server. So client all the time a request for something. For example, let's say www.google.com. So the request of google.com is sent to the server. The server will find out where google.com page is there and it will give back the response to the screen of the client. That is, it will display that response over here with the page of google.com. Okay, so in this way, internet works, and the major role of HTTP is behind this. Okay, so this entire request response protocol is the client server architecture which is being followed for by the internet, and this HTTP rule is being followed. It is actually simple, extensible, and stateless. That is, we for every request made by the client, which is received by the server, will either be having response as zero, like it will maybe its response is fulfilled, or there is no response to it. It will generate some error. Okay, so there are two types of response which server will make. One is it will give that particular request to the screen of client. Other one is it will generate error that this particular request cannot be fulfilled due to some error or due to some problem. Okay, so it is stateless in nature. So further, if we move further, when we use our browsers, okay, so browser is having on the top of the browser, we are having a URL on it. Okay, either it is google.com or whatever we want that particular resource is displayed on it. URL is basically Uniform Resource Locator. Okay, so it includes the protocol which we were talking about. That protocol is mentioned along with the host name. Let's say, for example, we say google.com. So here host name would be www.google.com. Okay, this example is given for you. So here you can see this is protocol. This is host or host name. Then a port number is given. Port number is like through which port your communication or your request is being sent and the response will come back to you. Okay, so that one is port number. Then further resource path is there, or path and file name is there, like on this path in this particular file and in this particular folder. Then you'll be having this query, that is this is one identifier, this is another identifier, and if this query is true, then only it will flash you or it will display you that particular content which you are asking for, which you are requesting for. So I hope it is clear. This is Uniform Resource Locator. And another thing which we readily, listen to it is Uniform Resource Identifier. Now, difference between the two is like URL is a bigger class and URI is a part of it. You can say URI, that is Uniform Resource Identifier, gives you a single detail out of that particular file which you are accessing. Okay, like for example, an example is given for you here. Now here name anchor is one part of a single smallest entity which this client is looking for name anchor. Now what the server will do, rather than getting the entire file, it will give you that particular single identifier out of it. Okay, so I hope it is clear now what is URL and URI. Moving further, how they work actually. So from here, as we know that we use browser for accessing internet. So user issues URL from the browser. Okay, so user will give pass on this URL, and this URL get converted as a request. At the back end, this request look like this, wherein get, then URL, then HTTP, its version is mentioned, and then host is mentioned, and many other details are there. Okay, so in this way browser sends a request message to the server. Now once it is reaching the server, server will map that particular URL present in the request to the file or program which is present in its documents and directories and files and folders. It will search it, and once it is searched, it founds it, then it will attach it into the response. Okay, and it will return the response message in the form of HTTP, which is the protocol being used. 1.1 is the version. Then 200 okay means that okay, whatever request you have given me, you have given the server, it is found in the files and folders of server, and now that server is sending you or fulfilling you your request, and response is given to you, and many other detailing is also there. And then that particular response get displayed to the screen of the browser, and you as a client or as a user get to display all these things. So you can see how many steps are done just in a blink of eye. Okay, so moving further, this HTTP is very effective tool or protocol, but there are few drawbacks which were spotted and are, those are patched with some secure version. So whenever a browser or a client and server used to make request and response or communicate between each other, this client server communication happens, anyone and everyone who is present in the middle can easily peep that what communication is being done. You see, if we two are talking and some third person is listening to us, our secret talk, then that is like your confidentiality is lost. Okay, your security is, your personal space is lost. Okay, similarly, hackers or intruders easily get to know what details you are talking about and can misuse that information. Okay, so for that purposes, what was done is a secure version of HTTP was implemented that makes this particular communication encrypted. Okay, like you can take one example of this, Helen. Okay, Helen used HTTP when she sent request of www.example.com along with her password. Then this attacker who was in the middle was easily able or capable to see this password, and he can easily, you can say, reuse it or misuse it. Okay, her password, her login ID, her credentials, because they were sent without any password encryption. Okay, but now with the advent of HTTPS, this password ABC123, it is now sent with the password encryption. This encrypted password cannot be decrypted by this person unless and until it has all the keys and public private key and proper decryption algorithm for the same. So hence it makes our communication more reliable and more secure. Okay, so similarly, another example for internet communication is given over here, wherein client side, there is a client who is accessing internet and sending HTTP request to the web server. Now here we are getting the magnified look of server side system. There is not only one server, but a complete army of servers who is working behind it. One part of it is web server who checks whether you are an authenticated user or not. Okay, the request which is being sent is actually an authentic request or not. This is the job of web server. Then further, once it authenticates you that yes, you are a valid user of this particular server side systems, then it gives you access to the web application servers which are hosted over here, and you want to access those servers, you want to access those websites, you can easily access it. Okay, then these web application servers are further connected to the database servers, and these database servers are the servers which stores your data for other good purposes in the safe and secure mode. So whenever we talk about like we want to use some web application, then what happens is, like for example, I'm using some shopping website, okay, and I want to submit some order on website. So what I will do is send I will connect to the internet, obviously. Only then I will be able to connect to that particular website. And that website, let's say some abc.com or some amazon.com or any xyz company is there whose network I'm using, whose website I'm using. So I will find routers, firewalls, switches in between my way, and then finally I'll reach web server. These web servers will like check my authentication, my credentials, whether my username and password is correct or not. It is similar to something like when we enter any organization, then there are some security guards over there. So these web servers are like security guards only. Okay, so they will check me, they will check the credentials, my login ID, my password. If my password and login ID is wrong, they will stop me from accessing web application server. Okay, and if it is right, they will allow me to use it. Okay, so it is similar to that. Now, if what if any attacker attacks it? What if any attacker attack this particular uh, organization's servers or some website, and this attacker assumes like he pretends like he is a genuine user because he has taken all my credentials by some hook and crook method. Okay, now he will become a genuine user. He will easily pass through this web server blockade, and he will enter the web application server, and he can also dismantle and damage the entire database along with the web application server completely. Okay, so this is how any attacker attacks. So he will always attack either this server side area, it is weak, or whether this client side area is weak, or this network side area, this particular area is weak. So you see what all areas are there that can be weak, that can be vulnerable, weak enough that attacker attacks those weaknesses and get into the logical and genuine system. Okay, I think you can well imagine, like, for example, if our human body is not fit, it is not, immune much, then diseases and various kind of viruses can attack it. Okay, so it is like what diet we eat. Okay, what all are our physical activities, and how physically fit we are. There is any weakness or not. So basically, those diseases also harm us because of our weaknesses only. Similarly, these attackers also harm us if we have some weakness, either at the browser level or client level, or at the network level, or at the server level. Okay, so we must be very vigilant, like what we are doing, and for that, we must first know that what kind of various attacks are there that that harm us, that can misuse or exploit our weaknesses of the system. Okay, so only then we will be able to diagnose these attacks, because once we do not know about the disease, how will we medicate accordingly, right? So for getting for being diagnosed, for being given good medication, for that we must first know what disease is. So similarly, we should first know what attack is, what kind of attacks are there, what weaknesses we have in our system. Only then we will be able to treat them, and we will be able to take care of us and get aware of what is happening and how we can stop these attacks. Okay, so these attacks are basically, you can see here various kind of attacks are there. First one is malware attack. Malware attack is came from two words, that is mal, that is malicious, and ware is from software. So malicious softwares are there, okay, which gets installed in our system without any knowledge to us, without any prior confirmation to us by the attacker, and they in turn give all the information, detailed information of our system, our data, to the attacker. So in this way, these malware softwares, that is malicious softwares, are harmful attack for us. Then further, next one is phishing attack. Phishing attack is like, once you get an email that okay, your credentials are being expired, kindly change them, and you think that this is a genuine email, and you try to change it. The moment you try to change it, it gets changed, but not according to you, but according to the attacker. So be very careful for these kind of emails. These are called phishing emails or phishing attack. Okay. Then another kind of attack is password attack, wherein attacker tries to guess or crack your password. Okay. It tries to either guess your password or crack your password manually, or with the help of various tools present over there that automatically cracks your password. So that is why it is always told you to have strong password, change your password time to time for this reason only. Okay. Then another kind of attack is DDoS attack, which is distributed denial of service attack. Now, what happens here? We are talking about denying of service by the server. Actually, this single server is given so many requests at a time, in just a fraction of seconds. So many requests are given to it that it stops responding back. It denies all the services, it denies the availability, which is a kind of attack. Okay. Then further we have man in the middle attack. As we discussed in the like example of HTTP and HTTPS, a person who was sitting in the middle, he was guessing all the password. He was able to see all the communication being held between the client and server. So this is a kind of man in the middle attack. Okay. Then further we have drive by download. Now, drive by download is like while we are downloading something from any malicious website or any ingenuine website, then some other files also accompanies it, and this is called drive by download. Further, we have maladvertising. Now, what this maladvertising is, like some bad content is shown to you, and this malicious advertising leads you to the malicious websites. Okay, wherein you can easily face malwares and other kind of trojans or viruses. Okay, so last but not the least is rogue software. Now, as the name suggests, rogue software means it is installed in your system, but it is being controlled by attacker. Okay, so you won't be able to control it, you won't be able to operate it, but your attacker will be taking care of it. You lost the control over your system, as it is in the remote access kind of thing with the attacker only. So you see various kind of attacks are there, and we need to get protected from all this. Now all these attacks actually leads to unauthorized modification, unauthorized deletion, and unauthorized access, okay, to your information. So we must be knowing how to protect ourselves from these unauthorized modification, deletion, and access. Okay. And we should also know that what we are trying to protect, we are trying to protect the data which is present, which is important to us. Okay. So for this reason only, when we talk about data, then the data, when it combines together, and get processed, it becomes information. Now if you take an example of your date of birth, then only your date or month or year doesn't make any sense. But when it gets combined together, like the date, your month and year, then it becomes your information. Okay, so I hope many of us might have set this as a security question in case we like lost our password. So it's very important to safeguard our information. Okay, so for this reason only information security comes into picture. So information security is not an organization level, it is an organization problem, but it is not an IT problem. It is the problem which we are facing, and we have to preserve our information security by preserving CIA, that is confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So, if you preserve these three things about your information, your entire information is protected. 100% protected if you take care of these three things. Okay, so how will we take care of these three things, and why we will take care of these three things? It is just like you are protecting your information and minimizing the risk of exposing your information to unauthorized party. Okay, because once you will preserve confidentiality, integrity, and availability, you will automatically lead to information security. Okay, why we need information security? We need information security because we do not want that our brand or reputation get lost. Okay, we don't want that our information get lost. We don't want that due to loss of brand reputation, our business availability get lost. Okay, uh, if all these things happen, obviously it will affect our productivity. Okay, so we need to have high productivity. If we use best practices, only then we can increase our productivity, we can ensure higher levels of assurance, we can have competitive advantages, and we can even lead to business continuity and disaster recovery. Otherwise, if our information is lost, then who is going to trust on us and who is going to give business to us? Okay, so all in all, you can say that the heart of you can say information security is your confidentiality, integrity, and availability of your information. Okay, so you need to preserve all these three and you will safeguard your information. Now we'll see how it attack occurs on these three and how we can safeguard. Okay, so we'll see all these things. Now here you can say this is the security, these are these few security issues which we will be discussing. Like first, there is a normal flow wherein user and sender and receiver both are happy. Okay, because smooth communication is happening. This is a normal flow. Now a third person came into picture wherein this attacker has stopped the message which was being sent by the sender to receiver. An interruption occurs, okay, by the attacker. Then further, what attacker did, he modified that particular message and sent it to the receiver. And this receiver will think that okay, this sender has sent it, but sender has not sent it, it is changed or modified by this attacker. So it will be an unhappy, or you can say unsatisfied scenario. Further, if there is interception, like both are communicating successfully without any interruption, but he is listening to whatever communication is being done, so this is interception. Okay, then further, now sender has not sent any message, it is being fabricated by the attacker, and he has fabricated this message such that the sender has sent it. Okay, but he has not sent it. So again, this is an unhappy issue. And further, there will be lack of reliability also. Because of all these scenarios, now sender and receiver both do not have trust on each other, do not rely on each other. The sender will say, have you got the message I have sent? And a receiver will say, no, I haven't got it. And receiver can ask then, have you sent this message? But Sender will say, no, I haven't sent it. Some other person would have sent. So you see, reputation loss is there. So reliability is lost, trust factor is lost. So whenever some interruption occurs, whenever we are communicating, interruption occurs, then that we say that the service which we were having earlier is now no more available. Okay, then your availability will be lost. Whenever any modification is done in your system, in your information, then we say integrity is lost. Okay, when we say that there is some interception, like somebody is listening to your communication, then we say our confidentiality is lost. Okay, when someone is fabricating messages on your behalf and sending that information to the receiver and fabricating it on his own and becoming genuine, and then we say that your authenticity is lost. And further, when there is no reliability between each other, then we say it is non-reputation. So all of these are security issues, and we need to work upon it. Okay, so now we know that what attacker how attacker attacks us. Okay, what are the various attacks which are being posed to us and how we are exploited, and what actually information is, and what are the loopholes, or what are the main objectives on which we have to work in order to secure information security. Okay, now we need to discuss about like what all are the weaknesses in our system. Like earlier we said that there is some weakness which are being exploited by these attackers, so we need to check it and patch those vulnerabilities so that we cannot get captured by this attacker. So vulnerability is basically weakness of an asset. Now, this asset can be your browser, this asset can be your network, this asset can be your server side which you are accessing. So all these things which can hamper your confidentiality, integrity, and availability, who can damage you, is known as vulnerability. It can be any bug, it can be any defect in the software or hardware which is being exploited by the attacker. Okay, so this is vulnerability. Now, what is threat? Threat is any event that has potential to bring harm to you, that can exploit you, is a threat. And a successful attack is called a threat. Okay, and what risk you might face due to this attack, due to this successful attack, that is threat on your vulnerability. So these three things are interlinked with each other. If you have a vulnerability, if you have weakness, then definitely you will be attacked. Okay, and successful attack is called threat. And once you are attacked, that means you are at risk. Okay, so risk is always threat multiplied by vulnerability. More is the threat, more is the vulnerability, more is the threat, and more will be the risk. Okay, so similarly, now once we know that where our vulnerability is, it's time to fix it. Okay, you need to identify that vulnerability first of all. Like what doctors do whenever we visit that doctor, they check us whether we have some deficiency of vitamins or minerals or any what kind of weakness we have. Similarly, we need to identify what kind of vulnerability or what kind of weakness our entire system have. Once we analyze and evaluate that weakness, we need to see how much risk we have, what in what you can say quantity we need to have security. Okay, then we will treat it accordingly. Okay, so it is similar to the doctor patient relationship. Similarly, our system is also treated accordingly. So till now we have seen unexpected growth. Okay, in 1990s we were just connected with one another in small networks, while in 2000s we had these websites on with us. We had application specific online contents, and in 2010s we have cloud as a buzzword. Okay, and presently we are advancing in the age of IoT, wherein each and every device generate humongous data. So you see, there is in every decade, we have seen evolution in the technology, evolution in the usage and its value also. Similarly, along with that, security problems have also evolved, and so as their solution also. And this evolution, I think it should never stop, because this shows that we are still progressing. Okay, we are in the progressing state. So this is the big picture, wherein you can see network security and information security as the base, and the upper building of this entire structure is carrying cybersecurity at the top. So what cybersecurity is? Cybersecurity is like, it means that you are protecting your data and information networks. That is, you are securing your information technology and information and communication technology products, okay, IT and ICT products. So in order to, not only protect and safeguard yourself, but your overall physical well-being and emotional well-being also. Okay, so this is cyber safety and cyber security. If you will protect not only online content, from, from yourself, your user, from online content, harmful online content, you will also protect the physical and emotional well-being. So this is called cyber safety. Similarly, IT security and computer security and one are one and the same thing. What we need to do is, we are having various IT specialists in our organization that will safeguard us from the cyber attacks. ठीक है, that oftenly attempts the breaches which occurs to our critically private and sensitive information, or when some outsider try to gain control on our internal system. So these IT security specialists will safeguard us from those. ठीक है, so this is called IT security. Then further, we talk about securing ourselves. So how you will secure yourself? Like, you can imagine a scenario wherein you are entering a crowd, okay, a very crowded place. Then what first thing that you will do is, you will see what valuable things I'm carrying, whether it is some jewelry or some phone or some cash or credit cards or my wallet. Okay, so what you will do, you will put those things into some safe place, and only then you will get into that crowd, right? So this is how we need to approach whenever we are entering to the cyber world. Now, first we need to have awareness, like what important information you have, how important is it for you, and how you can secure that. Okay, then further, after assessing, you need to assess, after getting awareness, you need to assess that what will happen if it gets into the wrong hand. Now you need to evaluate it, how much loss you will face if it goes off. Okay, then accordingly you will have to take precaution to protect it. If that particular thing is not that valuable, then its risk is low, then you will take precaution accordingly. And if it is very important, very sensitive and critical information, you will take step accordingly. Okay, so in this way, these 3 A's will help you to securing yourself. Okay, then various other common sense, or you can say tips that will protect you in getting into the cyber world and will ensure your security, will be like, you need to have common sense. Like, whenever anything and everything is going on, somebody asks you for OTP, whether you give it or not, again you use your common sense. Some pop-up has come up, and you, without reading, you are saying okay, or you are saying cancel, then again your common sense is being used. Okay, you need not to be technical efficient for taking such decisions. You have to use common sense for that. You need to be aware, like, what all is going on in the world today, in the cyber world, what is happening, how people are being cheated, how cyber crime is being, you know uh, getting into picture. Because in news we see something this happened and something that happened. You might be, you know uh, vigilant, you might be aware of all these things, okay, happening around you. This is another tip. Then third is, like, you need to regularly patch your devices. Like we oftenly see that people ignore whatever version updations in their applications or in their mobile phones or in the softwares they see. They just ignore it, that okay, remind me later. But it is important for you, okay, because why, what these patches or what these updated versions do, they actually make our system stronger. They might be some new attack which cannot be handled by your application or your website or your software. So these patches include all those these updations in the version of applications which you are using. So you should not ignore them. In turn, you should first regularly update these patches, these versions. Okay. For then you need to have antivirus and anti-spyware and anti-malware on your system, so that if something like this occurs, some viruses has hit your system, you can easily, rectify it. Okay. Then you need to be very careful while doing file sharing. Okay. So P2P file sharing is person to person file sharing, wherein if you are sharing some data, you need to be very careful. Okay. Then further, you need to check that what you are downloading, whether you are downloading from an official website or from some malicious website, what you are downloading. Okay. Like if you are using Android phone or Apple phone, then use Play Store and App Store accordingly. Okay. Or use official websites to download something, because if you use any ABCD website, it may carry any Trojan or any unwanted, files which get downloaded on your system and installed on your system, and even you do not get to know about that. Okay. Then read the computer messages carefully. Whenever some pop-up is shown by the computer to you to take decision, kindly read it very carefully, okay, and mindfully, and only then click next. Okay. Otherwise, if you will click next, it can lead you somewhere else at some dangerous place, or it may harm you also. Your information can be harmed. Okay. So be careful while reading emails also, especially when it do not belongs to someone you know, it belongs to some unknown person. Never read that mail, and never ever try to open or download the attachment which is there in the email. Okay. Because it may carry some malware. Once you will download it, it will automatically get installed in your system, and then you will not be able to do whatever you want to do. Okay. Then keep your password strong and to yourself only. Your password should have capital letters, small letter, alphanumeric letters, and special character as well. Okay. Then in this way only you can have cyber security, cyber ethics, and cyber safety. Without this much awareness, you cannot survive. But if you take care of these security tips, very small and very minor security tips, generic ones, you can definitely be safe and feel protected from the cyber crime in the cyber world. Okay. If you have any queries, you can ask me, and you can even email me at currentreath@cdec.in. Thank you. Any queries, please, if there are.
Thank you, ma'am. It was a wonderful session. And sir, ma'am, like if you have any questions, kindly keep it in the chat area, so that we will, try to address all your queries. Hope it is understandable by all of you, and also learn something from this session. If you have any queries, kindly keep it in the chat area. I think someone is asking, 128-bit system for security.
Sorry, sir, can you repeat it?
Ma'am, like,
What is the question?
128-bit system of security.
128 big system. Okay,
Bit system of
128 bits.
security.
Okay. That is 128 bit is not relate. I think you are asking from that slide of IP addresses. I was talking about 2 raised to the power 128 bits. That is like the number of IP addresses which are present. So we were talking about 2 raised to the power 32 bits and 2 raised to the power 128 bit. That is IP address range. Okay, so it is like earlier it was IPv4 which we are following, and now we will be following IPv6. Okay, next version, wherein number of IP addresses have changed. In order to extend it, we have now used 8 octets of IP address. 8 octets will be there. That will make your IP address, you can say 8 numbers will be divided by dots. Okay, so in order to rename your system.
Okay.
Uh,
Can we download the presentation? And okay, what should be the ideal position? 1 minute. Okay, what should be the ideal position for a firewall?
Ideal position of the firewall, again it depends upon your network administrator. Definitely it should be in the beginning, like it should be on the very first thing your some network traffic is entering, and your firewall should be at the very beginning, so that it can safeguard your internal system, your organization. Network administrator can better understand or better take decision of where your firewall be placed. And the major focus of that network administrator should be that it would safeguard all your internal infrastructure, or your internal assets of the organization.
Okay, ma'am.
Yes,
Thank you.
please.
How to locate dynamic IP address which keeps on changing? Regards IPF Dhrubi Assam. Okay, how to locate dynamic IP address which keeps on changing?
Okay, sir, this is like another one advanced version. Like, for example, if I give you very in layman language, if I tell you, like we all use mobile phones, right? When we are moving from one city to another city, or maybe from one place to another place, our network signal is always there in our phone, whether we are in, Maharashtra or we are in Karnataka. So our mobile phone catches that signal for that particular company, wherever it roams, right? Similarly, if we talk about this in terms of our computers, then once we are moving from one network or one internet service provider to another area, this dynamically its IP is configured accordingly, according to the place. As I told you, subnet mask also have one place, and default gateway has also one place for completing the entire address. So either we can do it manually, or it can be dynamically done. Okay, when we say it is dynamically done, then for example, if I'm talking about a stationary lab and I am going for DHCP protocol, it will automatically, pick all the range which I have defined for various IPs, and will allocate all the IPs, all the systems, those IPs accordingly and dynamically or automatically. Okay, I have not to configure it one to one. Okay, so this is the main significance of DHCP.
Okay, ma'am. Yeah, can you explain the repudiation again?
Okay. Yes. For reputation, I think, for example, let's say I am telling you some concept, I am telling you something, and you do not have trust on me. Okay. Whether I am, like, for example, presently I am giving you security awareness tips, and you think and you imagine that no, she's giving me wrong tips, I should not follow it. Okay. So there is like a reliability issue or trust issue between us. Okay, and once my reputation or my brand is lost, nobody is going to listen to what I'm telling. Okay, so similarly, when client or you can say when two computers or when two people are communicating between each other, and a third person is going to change whatever message they are sending and receiving, then the reliability of those messages are lost. Okay, that means those messages, every time recipient might think that okay, maybe this message is changed by someone. Maybe sender will think okay, maybe my message will not have been received to the receiver or not. Okay, so in this way, when reliability between each other is lost between two parties, then we say reputation is lost. Okay, so I hope it is clear to you now what a reputation is.
And ma'am,
Then
how the IP address is seen in our PC and mobile?
okay, for seeing IP address, you have to go to command prompt. Okay, you see that search icon on your taskbar in the start menu. Near the start menu, you need to go to search, and then or either you can go for a shortcut, that is keyboard shortcut, window button, and then R. Okay, this will lead you to that run command, and over there you can write CMD, that is command prompt. Okay, and once you click CMD and run it, you have to type a command name ifconfig. This ifconfig will tell what IP address you presently your system is having. Okay, so in this way you can see what IP address you have.
And how can I secure this IP address from okay, how can we secure this IP address from
IP
non-viewing
address,
of any person?
sorry, how can you secure IP address from?
From non-viewing of, from, any other person.
No, IP address, I don't think that if like it is similarly that you are having a house and that house is having an address, how can you, hide that address from anyone? And what harm is there if your address is being displayed somewhere? It is like you do not need to give access of your IP without checking that message. Like for example, there is a software named AnyDesk. Okay, in that AnyDesk software, what happen is we try to have remote access of any computer, any other computer which is present remotely. Okay, so whenever we send request to that particular remote desktop, then it always asks you for, you know, having permission that whether I can access your system or not. If you will share that particular number, only then you will be able to access that IP, na? Without that, you cannot share it. So it is up to you how vigilant you are, you whether you click or whether you share your OTP or whether you share your details with the other person or not. I think without that, IP address only cannot harm you, or it is not a harmful thing. It is similar to your phone number actually. Like your phone number is there and anybody and everybody is trying to communicate you. The moment you take up that call, only then you will be able to communicate with the other person. Okay, so it is up to you. Fine. I don't
Yeah.
think that securing IP address is something, crucial.
Yeah, yeah. Just to add that, ma'am, like that is true, sir. Actually, like if it is an organization kind of thing, like how do we ensure, see, for example, like when you are receiving a call, you will take a call whether you wanted to attend the call or you wanted to, disconnect the call. So in the same way, to safeguard your IP address, you have to take some preventive, nature, like preventive steps by keeping a firewall and the kind of things, so that it will stop, any kind of things which are coming.
Right, right, right.
Yeah, that's it from our side. And does the MAC address also play a role in internet security? Should we avoid sharing it on the public domain?
Yes,
MAC
yes.
address one.
MAC address poisoning is also there. Definitely, it should be safeguard because this is another important layer wherein ARP protocol works. And we definitely, if attacker is equipped enough, he can go for MAC poisoning and he can send various kind of, files and viruses to your system if he knows MAC address. So ARP poisoning and MAC poisoning is always there. So we need to safeguard Mac also.
Correct. We should not display those MAC addresses publicly.
Right, right, right.
Yes, ma'am. Can we get the handouts? We will see, sir. Phishing attack we will discuss in the afternoon. So a lot of government sites without HTTPS. So that what measures taken to use without HTTPS?
We need to have HTTPS for sure because these days all as I've shown you that HTTP, if you are communicating through HTTP, that means whatever communication is being done, it is in the clear text format. That password, whatever credentials, whatever you are sending via HTTP, that is why even banking websites always tell you that you should have that lock padlock symbol in front of your URL, and you must have HTTPS, only then you need to do that transaction. Otherwise you should not, because whatever like information you are sending through HTTP is in the clear text format, and anybody and everybody who is sitting over network can sniff whatever information you are sending. Your confidentiality will be totally lost. Okay, so you need to update your SSL certificates for the same, and you need to host it on HTTPS. This is an important tip, a security tip which is given always. So those websites, government websites, which are without HTTPS, are slowly and gradually they are moving to HTTPS. Okay, and you should also spread awareness about this to those concerned person who are like having authority of converting into HTTPS. They must do it.
Okay, ma'am. So in addition to that, ma'am, so like since you are talking about the government websites, like if they don't have anything related to the transaction, login, email access and all, so still you can host the website, right? So but only thing is like wherever, like why madam is insisting for the HTTPS is like wherever you are giving your username and password. So there like must and should, like you need to have an HTTPS.
Right, sir.
Otherwise, if they without that HTTPS, when that information is communicating in a plain text, there are always chances that other party people can see it. But whereas in the government website, like that is only an information, like which you are passing it to the people, but you are not asking anyone to log on and do some kind of transactions. So in that case, there are no issues.
Right.
But wherever you wanted to transact, or wherever you wanted to give your username, password kind of thing, HTTPS is mandate. Otherwise, like there are hundreds of thousands of websites are there without HTTPS, but there is no harm. But at the same time, you are also not providing any of your username and password. Like wherever you are giving your username and password, it is important to have HTTPS. Otherwise, people can see like what you are transacting. Hope it is clarifies you, sir. Uh, what network system? I think like we are going beyond that. I mean, study material. Yeah, we will try to share you like where this entire material is there, sir, and we will try to explain you. Madam, could you please explain the nature of threats one may experience through unsafe P2P file sharing? Maybe like in the next session we will cover up those things, sir. Uh, yes, ma'am. I think okay, exactly, sir. Many URL come with HTTPS. Till now, what we can do? So, like, if it is HTTPS, like there are no issues, sir. Like, if the site is with HTTP, like many sites are there with HTTP. Only concerned where you have to be careful is like, and over the HTTP website, if at all if you are giving a username and password, then you should be worried.
No.
Please, there are two aspects. HTTP websites are there, but there is no worry. But only thing is like wherever you are giving the username and password, or wherever you are entering your any of your financial details, then you have to be worried. Okay, we cannot eliminate without that, because HTTPS is also involves a lot of money. You have to purchase that certificate, you have to integrate and all such kind of things. Anyone and everyone can integrate with HTTPS, there is no issues. But if at all if you want to use that HTTPS, there is a money involved. But that is only the concern, right? Yes, ma'am. I think we will start. We'll stop here, and we will move on to the thing. And once again, thank you, Karanpreet, ma'am, for your wonderful session and clarifying all the question and answers. Uh, uh, you know,
Thank you
I
so
think I
much,
think
sir.
all the people are got benefited out of it. Thank you so much,
Thank
ma'am.
you so much, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. And sir, ma'am, like we are moving to the next session. Of course, like we were delayed more than 20 minutes. I think we should give sufficient time to our next speaker also. So If the session goes beyond 12:30, is it okay with all of you? If it is session goes beyond 12:30, is it okay with all of you? Please say yes or no in the chat area. So accordingly, we will move on to the next session. Please let us know your thoughts. If the session goes beyond 12:30, is it okay with all of you? Please say yes or no in the chat area. All right, you can give the response in the chat area so that we will see like what is the thing. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, we are receiving so many S's, so we will continue. So as I told you, like in this particular session, we are going to talk about like what is the data, password security, browser aspects, and some aspects related to the mobile app and mobile security kind of thing. So to deal with this, like we have with us Kajal Kashyap ma'am, and she is from our CDAC Noida, and she also have a lot of experience in government official training program, and she has more than 5+ years of experience in this particular domain, and we welcome her for this session. Thank you, Kajal, for joining with us session on these aspects, and you can start the session, ma. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Please go ahead, ma.
Yeah. So, once again, very good morning to all the respected participants present here. So, in this session, we are going to talk about that how important is to secure your data and how important is online security for our data. So, we are going to start with the very basic thing that how many of internet users we have in India by like 2022. And then if we talk in terms, then we have 840 million internet users are here overall, which is a very huge data. And then 70% of e-commerce transactions are done via mobile phones because nowadays everybody is having and carrying their mobile phones as we can do all of our things on mobile phones, and it is very easy to do all the tasks on mobile phones. So mostly people are preferring to do all sort of e-commerce, electronic commerce transactions through their mobile phones. And then 50% of travel transactions are done via online mode, as you know it is very convenient because anybody can sit at any place and can do the transactions. They don't have to go or travel from one place to another to do any sort of transaction. So this is a very good thing, and 50% are actually doing their travel transactions via online mode. Next, we have 175 million online shoppers. As we have seen in the COVID time also, that we are mostly dependent on online shopping as we don't cannot go outside. So we are totally dependent on online shopping, on like grocery shopping online. So here, 175 million people are doing online shopping. And then 2.2 billion mobile connections we have, as we had discussed that we all are carrying our mobile phones. I think everyone is carrying mobile phones. In the villages also people are carrying their smartphones nowadays. Even children are carrying the smartphones nowadays. And then 448 million social media users we have overall, which is a very huge data. All right, let's talk on the next term, that what actually is cyber crime. So let's focus on cyber crime. That cyber crime can be defined as the illegal uses of any communication device to what we can say to commit or to do any illegal activity. All in all, a cybercrime is explained as a type of crime that targets or uses a computer, or we can say a group of computers under one network for the purpose of harming each other or any person. We can say that. And cyber crimes are committed using computers, computer networks, and they can be targeted individuals. Basically here they means why I'm saying they, I'm just saying they to the hackers. So hackers are targeting individuals, businesses, persons or businesses groups, or even government officials also, right? So cybercrime is a criminal activity that will either target your computer or uses a computer or a network, or a network device in order to perform a uh, illegal activity or in order to perform a crime. So here you can see one line which is written in red color, that a major attack vector of cybercrime is to exploit broken softwares. Now, why we are saying the software is broken? Broken software here means the softwares which are not updated, which are not up to dated, and which can be easily hacked. Now, how they can be easily hacked? If you are not in habit of updating your softwares, updating your hardwares, or if you are actually using old softwares, old hardwares, then they can be easily exploited, they can be easily hacked. Nowadays hackers are searching for these sort of softwares which they can easily crack, and those software will only crack that will be unupdated, that will not be updated from like few months or few years. So nowadays we have, there are people that they don't focus on softwares and hardwares, and they are still using unupdated and previous versions of softwares. So this thing we must we stop doing, that do not uh, use any software which are not updated and any softwares which are actually of pirated version, right? So here criminals are actually targeting these sort of persons who are using these broken softwares. Now we have three terms associated with cybercrime, as you can see here. First one we have is vulnerability, second one is threat, and third one we have is risk. So let's talk about one by one. So vulnerability basically is a weak point or weaknesses that is present in your software and hardware. Basically, broken software is equal to vulnerability. These both are same meaning. Okay. So vulnerability is a weak point, flaw, error, or any gap in the security environment of an asset or software or hardware. So the weakness is exploited by the possible threat to force its way into getting unauthorized access to the system. Now coming to threat, so threat is usually referred to as something against which assets are being protected, and it is identified possibility that can be accidental, or we can say intentional, or damage or permanently destroy an asset. So we have different types of threat. We can call it threat like social engineering attacks, ransomware attacks, bombs, virus, malware. These all are threats. So basically, when there will be a vulnerability, automatically threat will be there. If there is no vulnerability, if there is no broken software, if there is no weakness in your softwares and hardwares, then definitely there will be no threat of any sort of malware, virus, and any ransomware. And then there comes risk. So risk is the possibility of loss of an asset, or how much of exposure is there to the threat that has already happened, and potential damage from a cyber attack. So this is basically the meeting point of threat and vulnerability. So overall, if I'll say that if these all our terms are interrelated, if one thing happen, that means if vulnerability will arise, automatically threat and risk will be there. The more the threat is, the more the risk will be. The more the risk will be, and the less the threat is, the less is risk is. So we need to make sure that whenever we are, whatever the softwares, hardwares we are using, they are totally up to dated. If they are not updated, please update those softwares, and always use updated and uh, paid softwares, not the free versions of software. Do not rely on those software, because nothing is freely available on the internet. Okay. So we cannot trust any software on the internet, because we never know that any malware can come from that software. So it is recommended to always update your softwares and hardwares. Okay. Here you can see threats in common apps use. So nowadays, as we had discussed, that we all are dependent on our mobile phones. Everybody is carrying their mobile phones. Definitely, we have a lot of online applications on which we are dependent on. For instance, if I want to travel from one place to another, I'll definitely take like taxi applications. I'll book from that taxi application, and I'll definitely easily can go from one place to another place. And if I want to look for any education application, I'll just quickly download in few seconds from the app store or the play store, right? And for banking application, I'm also using banking applications. For shopping, we are also using so many shopping applications. And for jobs and chatting, instant messaging applications, hotel and travel booking applications, and definitely online gaming. So everybody is using these sort of applications in their mobile phones, right? So what happened is, just imagine one day you wake up and you these application whatever you are using got breached by anyhow. So that can be happen, right? We cannot trust each and every application. Any hacking thing can happen with any application, right? So what we can do is, first of all, we need to stop downloading a lot of applications in our mobile phones. Just download that limited sort of applications which you are actually using in your day-to-day life. Like, you are using your banking application in your day-to-day life, just download those. And do not download any application from any link. Just download applications from the authenticated stores only. For example, if you are an Android user, you can straightly go to your Play Store and download the application from there itself. And if you are an iOS user, you can straightly go to the App Store and download the application from there itself. And second of all, before downloading the application, please make sure you are reading the reviews and checking the rating and everything. Okay. And next thing, what we can avoid is, do not download any applications from the link that you receive on your social media applications. Sometimes we receive a link on our WhatsApp or Facebook Messenger and any other social media application, and that link is asking us to download the application from any third party website, and we quickly download that without reading and without understanding the consequences of that thing, right? So we need to make sure that we do not download these sort of applications from any sort of third party websites or any sort of third party links. And always update your applications, whatever application you are using in your mobile phones. Try to update all those applications so that you can prevent yourself from the threat that are actually occurring in the application that we are using day to day. Okay, this is just a minute. Let me show it why it is not showing us. Okay, I think there is some issue. Let it be. Let it just see the slide as it is, then I'll do the full screen. So now the question comes, what actually is cybersecurity and what is the need of cybersecurity? So definitely cybersecurity is basically protecting um, your data, your information from the internet, right? So basically it will protect your device like computers, your program, your data from any sort of attack, any sort of damage, or any sort of unauthorized access. So the main motive of cybersecurity is to protect you and your data. So as you can see here, as the internet users are increasing day by day, security threats are also increasing day by day. So it is our essential duty to protect ourselves from these security threats. And how we will secure? Like we make sure that whatever the links we are clicking upon, that they are trustworthy, right? We need to make sure that whatever the data we are filling on the internet is actually trustworthy. So here a major part of cybersecurity is to fix broken software. Now in the previous slide we had discussed that the role of hackers is to search for those broken software, and once they got those broken software they try to you know hack those softwares, and they once they hack, they simply can enter in our system and can take our data. Now the work of cybersecurity professionals is to search for these sort of broken software. Once they got that, they basically try to patch those softwares. They basically fix those softwares, and then they make sure that they are working correctly. So this is the work of, we can say, cybersecurity. Now, if we are talking about cybersecurity, it is very essential to talk about the goals of cybersecurity. So we have the goals of cybersecurity. So cybersecurity ensures that these goals are fulfilled so that our information will be safe. So first of all, let's talk about these things, then we will move ahead. So we have three goals: CIA. C is confidentiality, I is for integrity, and A is for availability. So confidentiality here means is, if I am an authorized person, so I only have the right to basically access any sort of information or view any sort of information. No other person can come and see my information or see my data. This is actually confidentiality. If the data is mine, I only have the right to look at that data, to view at that data, to do any sort of editing in that data. No other third person can come and view that data. This is confidentiality, and cybersecurity makes sure that they are maintaining this. Next we have is integrity. So integrity means, let's suppose I am a user and there is one, sorry, let's suppose I am a sender and there is one receiver, right? So I am sending one message to receiver: hi, how are you? So receiver shall also receive the same message, and the meaning and everything shall remain same. If it is same, that means integrity is maintained and the goal is fulfilled. Okay, the information is secured. If the message is same but the meaning is different, like by anyhow, like in the middle, you have heard about man in the middle attack. So any information can be targeted by hacker, like man in the middle attack, right? So integrity is basically maintaining the integrity of that information or data. Next is availability. So availability here means, if I am authorized user, so I have all the resources that should be uh, like whatever are my requirements for the resources, that should be readily available to me at that particular period of time. So this is availability. So these are the three things that can be fulfilled by cybersecurity in order to make sure the information or whatever data we have is actually secure. Now, this is a very, very interesting chart that you can see here. This is actually totally related to your social media applications. So this is actually showing us that in just 60 seconds, that in just 1 minute, how much of people are engaging on social media. So you can see here, if I'll start with WhatsApp, everybody is on WhatsApp, right? So we have 69 million messages sent over WhatsApp in just 60 seconds. And if I'll talk about Facebook Messenger, this is also same, 69 million messages sent over Facebook Messenger. And then we have another application, that is Netflix. So 28,000 subscribers are watching Netflix in just 1 minute. And then 1.4 million people are scrolling in on Facebook. 21.1 million texts are sent on normal messages, and then 500 hours of content are uploaded on YouTube. So as you can see, there is a lot of data going on the internet related to social media in just a few minutes. We have also 1.6 million spent online on shopping. This is in dollar. And then 3.4 million snaps are created over Snapchat. This is one application where you can share your photos or videos over there. So this is actually this is how much of people are using this app. That 3.4 million snaps are created over this particular app. So you can see a lot of data is actually going on social media in just under 60 seconds, and a lot of people are engaging on social media in just 60 seconds. Then what about like other seconds, other minutes, and other hours? So this is a very, very huge data that we can see here. Now here, everyone asks us that how does Google knows everything about us? Like this product they can see what product is actually user seeing. Google is giving that advertisement to the user. So how does Google knows, or how does we can say Google track you? So the answer is we actually are responsible for sharing our information to the Google. Like how? So these are the components that we all are using. I think everyone is using these components like Google Chrome, YouTube, Maps, these applications, right? So these applications are responsible for giving our information to the Google, and we are actually responsible for providing our information to these applications. How? Let's see. First of all, if you are using Google Chrome browser, so whatever the browser history is there, whenever we don't delete the history, it is be there in your browser. And they just straightly share this information to the Google that today this person has visited this particular website and other stuff, and whatever the websites you have visited. And next is whatever the videos you watch on YouTube, whatever the videos, if you have a channel, if you are uploading your YouTube videos there, then they basically show you that kind of videos only. Like if you watch vlogs kind of stuff, they give you vlogs in the home section. Like you can watch these also. And if you are using Google Maps, then the locations you visited there, the place you searched there, they all are basically saved in the Google Maps. And then there is one application which we call it as a Hangout. So this is mostly present in Android applications. So once you open this particular application, it will ask you to make a default of your conversation and contacts. So once you click on yes, it will copy all your contacts and conversations. So this if you see this sort of application, there is no use of this application. So just delete this application. And there is one photo application where you can basically tag people and places where you have visited. And this also is information shared by photos to Google, and that this person is this name, and this person at this particular period of time they have you know visited this particular place. And then we have a calendar application where we mark our upcoming plans and appointments. And then we have Google search browser where we search for different queries. And then Gmail, everybody knows about Gmail. Gmail shares our contacts, emails, and in what kind of email content we have on Gmail with Google. And then products searched on, products clicked on, ads clicked on, topics interested in, and news sites viewed, stories read. So these are the components that are giving information to the Google, and we are actually using these components. So all in all, it depends on our users that how we are actually using these components, like how crucially we are using these components. If we are using it in a very secure way, Google will uh, get very limited information of ourselves. But if we are doing all of these things, like we are not deleting our browser history, we are not deleting YouTube history, we are just sharing all of the things on with our mobile phone with these components, then definitely we are giving a lot of information to the Google. Now, this is very interesting topic that we can see here is digital footprints. So what is digital footprints? So this is actually the information that exists online about you and your activity. First of all, whatever you are doing, um, like on the internet, from the day you have started using the internet till now, everything is storing on the internet with your name. So we need to be careful from nowwards that what we are actually sharing on the internet, where we are actually sharing on the internet, and with whom we are sharing things on the internet. So we have two type of digital footprints. First one we have is passive, other one we have is active. Now if I talk about passive one, so passive one is basically giving your information to the internet unintentionally. Means whenever we are logging in a particular website, if you have just login or if you have just visited any website, just visited, your these information will be like what I'm going to talk about next. these information will be already passed on to the internet. These informations are your IP address, your current location, and your internet service provided information. This has already passed on to the internet, and we are not aware about this thing that okay, this much of information is already passed on to the internet. Next is active digital footprint. Active means giving information intentionally to the internet. Like, let's suppose I am here new to Facebook account, and whenever I'm new to Facebook account, Facebook will ask me to create a new account, right? So when I create a new account, when I create a new profile, it will ask me to upload some my information, like what is my name and what is currently I'm doing, where currently I'm working, where I had studied, and what are my hobbies, what I like to eat, stuff like that, right? We are actually giving our information to the Facebook. They are not forcing us to take our information, but we are uh, like peacefully and happily giving our information to the Facebook. Why? There is no need of giving such information to the social media, but still we all are busy in giving our information to the Facebook. So this is one thing that we are actually providing our information to the internet, intentionally. So, we need to be smart about what kind of websites we are actually visiting, and what kind of emails we are clicking, and what kind of links we are clicking upon, because we cannot trust anything over the internet, right? And like everything is storing on the internet, we need to make sure that whatever we are doing on the internet, we need to think twice before doing anything or before sharing anything on the internet. Now, most of you will ask me that is it possible to delete your digital footprint? So my answer is a big no. You cannot delete your digital footprints because there is no tool and there isn't any method through which we can delete our digital footprints. So we can only preserve this, we can only limit this. From now onwards, you need to be always think before long term before posting anything, and you need to make sure that you are avoiding making any virtual or online friends, and you are actually keeping your personal information private. So we have different security privacy settings given on social media. We are not saying that do not use social media, but if you are there on social media, then please make sure that your profiles are actually private and no other person except your friends and family can see your information, and no third person can come to your profile and look like okay, these are your hobbies, these are the foods you like, stuff like that. Okay, so every social media platform has its own privacy settings. You can go there. Please make sure you are actually uh, using those privacy settings in your social media accounts so that no other third person can come and look into your information. And protect your privacy and privacy of your friends. If you are seeing something fishy related to your friend's account or your family account, then definitely you need to inform them as soon as possible that this thing is happening on your profile. Is this you or someone else? If someone else will be there, they will definitely take action at that period of time. Or if you are not active on social media but there are still your account on social media, then definitely I basically say that delete those accounts, because hackers are targeting these sort of accounts that people are not using those accounts. And it is recommended, definitely close those accounts, delete those accounts, because we never know behind your back who is the person try to hack those accounts. And have a time limit on time spent on social media, and spend a lot of time with your family and friends. Now, what are the primary threats to our device security? So everybody is having their devices in their hands, like their mobile phones, laptop, tablets. So there are few threats, or we can say many threats, which can arise in your device. Like viruses and worms are common. Everybody have heard about these viruses and worms. Basically, these are the softwares or the programs that will copy, damage, or delete your data. Trojans that will pretend to be a genuine software or a good software, but actually they are bad software. Once they are come into your device, they will destroy your data, they will damage your data, they will steal your personal information. And then there comes spyware. So basically hackers are sending these spyware softwares through various links, and once you click on those links, automatically spyware will download into your device, and you will not be aware that this software has been downloaded in my system. And they will now track each and every activity of whatever you do on the internet, and gives you a lot of ads, right? So this is a spyware. They will track whatever you do on the internet. Now, next is malvertising. So, what is malvertising? Malvertising is basically what hackers are doing. Hackers are searching for in internet advertisements. You have seen a lot of advertisement on the internet. So, they will target one advertisement that will look genuine and that will be catchy, like eye catchy. Okay, so once they finalize the advertisement, they will now inject one malicious code inside behind that advertisement. And once the user will see that advertisement, and if they find them eye catchy, they will definitely click those advertisement, and one malware will automatically come into your device, it will download into your device, and that will be there, and you will not be aware that some malware is already in your device. So this is malvertising, basically downloading malware in the user device through advertisement. This is malvertising. Now, we have different cyber frauds like phishing attack, tab nabbing, identity theft, donation mask scams, and then ransomware attack and keylogger. So let's discuss these cyber frauds, and then we will see that what are the preventions that we can basically take in order to basically save ourselves from these sort of cyber frauds. So first of all, let's start with identity theft. So identity theft happened with your personally identifiable documents. These documents consist of your Aadhaar card, your mobile phone, your driving license, your credit card, debit card, any basically document which will prove your identity that this person is you. So what hackers are doing? Hackers are stealing those documents, and they just through those documents they are committing crime. They are committing fraud just to defraud others or just to steal money from you. So if they are doing identity theft, what they will going to acquire, they will going to acquire your passwords. Passwords can be anything: your bank password, your any account password, your social media password, or any password. And then your bank account information, they try to show your document, and they try to get your bank account information. They try to show your that document, right? They try to get information related to your credit card, debit card. And if they steal your mobile phone, they can basically see your contacts, videos, images, and sensitive documents through that. So these are the information that can be targeted by thieves. Now, what prevention we can do? Always and always safeguard your information. Protect and never share your passwords with anyone, even with your family and friends. Do not share with your passwords. And be debit card and credit card smart. As you are using credit card, debit card, you can use it, but please make sure you are checking the monthly transactions with your debit and credit card, because there are some hidden transactions going on. Hackers are doing that. So your mail will has all those transactions if you have given your email ID there. So you can check the types of transactions, and if you find any transaction that is fishy, that is not looking genuine, then you can definitely call your bank account and bank authorized person, and tell them that this is the fishy transaction that is going on with my account. And destroy shred receipts not required. And one thing we have seen a lot of that while using ATM, right? Whenever we are done with the online transaction, we just throw that slip on the floor and we just get out of the ATM. Why? Because anyone can come in that ATM and can, you know, take that slip and take that information. Definitely. So we need to make sure that we are actually saving each and every detail of ourselves. Why to share this thing also with the strangers. So it is recommended that whatever whenever we are done with our transactions, with the transaction slip, you can just throw it, just tear it in small pieces and then throw it in the dustbin, not on the floor. So this is recommended so that we can basically save our information as much as possible. And you need to review your records regularly, definitely, and be cautious with phishing links. Do not click on any of the link, like as it is, just you are clicking it like this. And monitor your online accounts. Definitely, we have discussed that if there are online accounts, you need to make sure you are monitoring it on daily basis. And be careful with public Wi-Fi. Do not, just if you are in a not a very emergency, then do not try to connect with public Wi-Fi, because we cannot rely on these public Wi-Fi and we cannot trust that who is the person sitting behind that and what is the motive of that person. So you need to be careful as much as possible. What to do if you are a victim of identity theft? Definitely change your passwords as soon as possible. Report it to your nearest police station and contact your bank that this thing has happened with you, and they will definitely take action. Now, talking about Keylogger, this is also comes under cyber fraud. So hackers are actually installing these sort of softwares where they will install some software in your device and you will not be aware of that. And now what next will happen is, whatever you type with your keyboard, everything will be stored in a plain text in a particular file, and you will not be aware and you will not be able to find that file. So this is actually Keylogger. So hackers are basically using it in order to know your passwords, in order to your bank account passwords and other stuff. Now this is about the software. Now there comes also hardware software. This is, you can see here, there is one device that you can see here in the black color. This is actually a hardware keylogger. So this basically we find it mostly in our cyber cafes. So mostly people are not using cyber cafes, but we never know when will the emergency will come. So before using any sort of device in the cyber cafes, you try to make sure that this device will not be there whenever you are using cyber cafes. So this is actually about the keylogger. Now, next fraud we have is phishing. So you all have heard about a lot of phishing attacks nowadays, which is going on. So phishing is basically done through email. So sending one genuine email, which will look genuine, and once you click on the link that is inserted in the email, it will land you into a clone website, and that will look just like a genuine website. And once you type the details or the username there in the clone website, your original passwords will be sent to the hacker. So this is actually phishing. So it is basically a criminal attempting to acquire sensitive information such as your username, passwords, and credit and debit card details. Now, we have given few examples related to phishing websites so that you can, understand it in a more clear way. So first of all, what hackers are doing, hackers are basically creating a clone website. Clone here means they will create a similar website of one famous website. Like this is a Gmail website, first one, and hacker will create a same website which will look just like Gmail, and anybody can trust that website. But the URL will be different, and it will there will be a very small difference between the genuine and the fake website. So here in my case, we have given the examples like www.gmai1.com. So if I'll not look at the carefully at the URL, I'll definitely uh, we are not in the habit of checking the URL and the spellings of URL. We just look at the like layout of the website and we just go ahead, right? We never ever check the URL spelling. So please make sure from now onwards that whatever websites you are visiting, you are actually checking the website's URL spelling. And second is ICICIbank.com. So instead of bank, instead of B, they have used 6, which is looking just similar to B. And in Bank of Baroda, they have used 0 instead of O. And in Yahoo.com, they have used 00 instead of O. Sorry, yeah, 00 instead of O. So these are the few tactics of hackers through which they are actually trying to fool the users. So let me tell you that how to identify fake phishing websites without using any sort of tools. All right. So let's see here that how we can uh, check any websites without that it is actually a genuine website or a fake website without using any sort of tool. Okay. So here I'm opening CDAC website. So what you need to make sure in your mind while looking for the website, first of all, it should be HTTPS secure, and the second thing what you will see is you need to check the spelling of the website. This is www.cdac.in. So in my case, everything is fine and it's looking good. Now, next thing what you will check, third thing is you will check is this small lock, which we call it as a padlock. Okay, this should be there. If this is there, then the website is actually digital certified. What is the meaning of digital certified? They have all the digital certificate and they are actually authorized website. Now, if you want to look into more information, you can just click here. You can see connection secure. And if you want to see more information, you are securely connected to this site. Okay. Now, digital certificate is verified by this particular company. Now, if you want to look into the digital certificate, you can just click on more information, and here you can see the information, and there is one small button of view certificate. Just click here, and this is actually the digital certificate of that website. This is having the validity, this is having the issuer name, that who has given the certificate to this particular website. Everything information is there, so you can definitely check if the website is genuine or cloned. They are not having this digital certificate, definitely. So this is one of the method through which we can actually check whether the website is a genuine website or a fake website, because we don't have in like each and every day we don't have that time to use tools, right? So this is actually it will take few minutes, and there you will check the digital certificate of any website and the authenticity of any website. Now, next fraud we have is tab numbing. So tab numbing is also just similar to phishing attack. So what actually is having under tab numbing? Let's just explain me through this example. So here there is one user who is busy in accessing a lot of tabs at one time. Okay. So there he has opened 7 tabs. Okay. First tab is the some shopping website. So what happened is after few minutes, the user is busy in accessing all the other tabs except the first tab. Okay. So from few minutes, he has not accessed the first tab. Now after few minutes, what will happen is the first tab will start showing this word connecting. Now after few minutes, when the user came back to the first tab, he just click on the tab and he sees this page. This is the Gmail page, but before, the page was opened of eBay website where the electronics and the cars page were opened, right? Now user was doesn't remember that this what page previously was open. He thought, okay, Gmail was open, so let's log in and check the mails in my Gmail. So he straightly go to the sign in option, and he gives his username and the password. Click on sign in. When you enter your username and the password, it will straightly send to the fake, we can say the hacker. Okay, he'll get your username and the password straightly. So this is as easy as this. So this can be prevented by checking the URL. If he has checked the URL, this is actually gmai1.com. This is not gmail.com. So this is actually how hackers are fooling us. Now, how to prevent this sort of attack? First of all, do not open a lot of tabs at one time. Okay, just open 1 or 2 tabs, that will be sufficient. And while doing anything new, you try to refresh those tabs. Okay, so this can be only done, and you need to check the URL, the spelling of the URL, and please make sure that you are not doing any sort of transactions on normal browser. If you want to do any sort of transactions, you can go to the incognito window or private window, you can go there. Every browser has incognito window or private window. You can go there. You can easily do the transactions there. Next fraud we have is ransomware. So ransomware is basically demanding money instead of your data. Okay, so what they will hacker will do, hacker will ask you some sort of money, and instead of that uh, they will steal your data or information, and once you give them money, then only they will give you back your data or whatever the information they have. Now we have two type of ransomware. First is crypto and the other one is locker. So in crypto ransomware, what hackers are doing, hackers are just encrypting all the files and the data that is there on your device. Let's suppose you have a important meeting tomorrow, and the hacker knows it. Okay, once they have access of your system, they knows like you have saved like this is like important information or important meeting or important folder. They will encrypt those files, and once you open it, it will not at all open. Now they will ask you some money instead of giving you decryption key. When you give them money, then only they will give you the decryption key of that data or the file. So this is crypto ransomware. Now in locker ransomware, your whole device will be shut down or locked out. If you are using your mobile phone, it will be locked out. If you are using laptop, it will be locked out, and only it will give you the password when you give them some ransom money. So this is actually ransomware. Now, whenever we are talking about cybersecurity, password plays a very, very important role in our life. So, hackers are using various techniques to gather your password. First of all, they are using shoulder surfing. So what is shoulder surfing? Let's suppose I am sitting on my office desktop and I try to enter in my bank website. Okay. Now some a person who is a stranger is actually standing behind me and looking at my screen, and I am not aware about this. I'm just busy in accessing my website. So what he can see, he can definitely see my password and um, username, definitely, and he can go back to his seat. He can still log in by knowing my username and the password. So this thing we should be aware. This is actually awareness. Sometimes we are using lifts, public lifts, and we are actually busy, so much busy in accessing our mobile phones that we never sees that if someone is standing behind me, he can also look at my screen. And also there are some security cameras there, they can also record your important stuff. If you are accessing, if your angle is not good, right? So this can be done. We call it as a shoulder surfing. And then writing your passwords on paper or storing it on hard disk. So it is very much recommended to do not write your passwords on paper. Some people are still habitual that they write their username, sometimes their email ID and passwords on a sticky note, and they just stick it on their office desktop. Now anybody can come there and anybody can visit there and anybody can see that. So this is not at all recommended. And brute force attack is another technique through which they can gather your password. Like in this technique, hacker are actually guessing your username and the password. So if you are using common passwords like your mobile phone, or passwords like ABCD12345, or any of your pet name password or anything which is actually common, so definitely your account can be hacked. Your password can be hacked. Next is dictionary attack. So if you think that you are smart enough and if you are using a dictionary word as a password, that is actually very tough and you will be safe. You are 100% wrong here, because we have a lot of advancement in our online tools we have. So we have an online tool, or we have different online tools through which in few seconds all the dictionary word can be broken in few seconds. So this is not at all recommended to use a passwords related to any dictionary word. Okay, so what we can do, like how we can make our password secure or strong and rememberable. So first of all, you need to switch to a passphrase. Now you'll ask me, what is passphrase? So passphrase is basically taking your favorite sentence which you will not forget. Like in my case, my favorite sentence is never judge a book by its cover. This sentence I can remember each and every time. I'll not forget this particular sentence. Now I have taken this particular sentence. Now I'll try to make a password from this sentence so that that password can also be easily remembered. Okay, so what I have done here, I have taken small n from never, small j from judge, at symbol from a because it will similar looking similar with a, and 6 from B, by 6 again, 6 from by, and exclamatory mark from its, and capital C from cover. Now you can see how much easy this is, actually having all the numbers, letters and special characters, and they are actually strong enough, right? So this is how you also can take your favorite sentence. Your favorite sentence can be anything, and then you can create your own password. In this way you can create different passwords for different accounts, and there you will not, you know there will not a chance of forgetting the passwords. So this is actually a very good technique that we can basically use in our day-to-day life. Now, coming to the preventions that what we can basically do in order to prevent these sort of attacks. Basically, prevention is the key in order to attack from the internet threats. So, always refresh the browser after returning back from other tabs. First of all, do not open a lot of tabs. If you are opening, always refresh it. Avoid phishing emails and questionable websites. Definitely. Always use private browsing if you want to do any sort of transactions. Always use updated and antiviruses software. First of all, please do not use free antiviruses software. Always try to use paid antiviruses software, because anything which is freely available on the internet is actually a myth. Nothing is freely available on the internet. Okay, so do not rely on free softwares on the internet. Do not use those softwares. And increase your browser security settings. We have here different people from different locations, so everyone is using different browsers. So whatever is your browser, whatever the user requirement is, you can just go to the browser settings, and in the privacy settings you can do the privacy settings according to your requirements. Okay, and then do not fall for advertisements that tempt you into downloading free softwares. And always, at the end of the day, you need to always clear your cookies, cache and history on daily basis. Now, disable auto connect when joining networks. Never reuse passwords for Wi-Fi. Change the name of your default Wi-Fi network. Disable your wireless home network when you are not at home. And do use two-factor authentication on everything possible. Nowadays, what actually is two-factor authentication? First of all, you need to log in with your username and the password, and then it will one OTP will come in your mobile phone. When that OTP you will provide to that website, then only you can enter into that website. Else not. So this is a very good thing. It is a very good security mechanism. So you need to make sure that you are using this two-factor authentication setup. You need to do the in the privacy settings. You can do that. Okay, and then do not install apps from third party. Definitely. And record IMEI number, definitely, in case if your mobile is lost or stolen by anyhow. So in that case, IMEI number will play a very important role. And then never open email attachments with a file extension such as BBS, SHS, and PIF. And never open web links in your email. Always type links in web browsers. And never download anything from email when the sender is unknown or the attachment has a doubtful name. And never trust the icons in the email attachment also. And never send your photograph through email to unknown persons. So here in this session of like approximate 1 hour, we have only made it to the conclusion that the only system which is truly secure is one which is actually switched off and unplugged. So the only way to be safe is to pay attention and act smart. And while using the internet, before doing anything on the internet, you need to make sure that you have thought of that clicking thing, or thought of that doing thing, or thought of that sharing thing twice before doing anything on the internet. So the mantra of online safety is to pause and think before you connect, so that you can secure yourself and secure the nation. So that was it for the session. If you have any question, you can definitely ask me. So thank you so much, and you need to be stay safe